We're going live.
Okay. Barb, so you want us to mute ourselves?
Yeah, now everybody can hear you. I will mute you all. So hello everyone. I hope you are able to listen to my voice. That means that everything is going as planned. We are about to start this wonderful Rabbis Panel as a pre-Tikun Leil Shavuot. And this is a cooperation between the synagogues here in Winnipeg and also with the participation of the Jewish Federation. It's an amazing opportunity that we have to collaborate with each other and to inspire everyone before we have the opportunity to celebrate Shavuot together, this wonderful opportunity to receive the Torah anew and to find new ways to make that Torah alive within ourselves. Let's take a couple more minutes. We'll wait until more people get connected and online so we can start shortly. Yeah, I can see more of you are already connecting. People are sending their messages. That's wonderful. Hello, Debbie Stern. Hello, Debbie Pollack. Hi, Chag Sameach, everyone. I see more of you are already connecting. People are sending their messages. Hello, Allan, Renault. You were the first one. Good to see you, buddy. So if you're connecting on YouTube or Facebook, feel free to let us know your comments. The chats are open now. I can read all the comments that you're writing. Hello, Faye. Hi, Melanie Richter. Hello, Yerach. That's great. More and more people. Hi, Barb. Hi, Judy. Welcome. Hi, Bonnie. Bonnie Champ. Chag Sameach to you too. Bonnie Champ is wishing you all Chag Sameach. Actually, everybody's wishing all Chag Sameach. Yeah, you guys cannot see the rabbis yet, but I can. I have them in my other screen. You will see them when it's their turn, their time to talk, to present their message. Hi, Richard. Hi, Rochelle. Hi, Patty and Arthur. Great to see you. Kathy Hiller is here. That's great. Hello. Okay, I think it's 2 minutes after 5, so we can begin. And this is a very special moment, very special opportunity that we have to study together, to learn something new, to get inspired. But before we do that, we have some very important messages that they were sent to us in advance that they would like to share with you. And the first one is presented to the entire Jewish community by his worship, actually, Mayor Brian Bowman. So let's listen to his message.
Today, during the festival of Shavuot, you mark the receiving of the Torah and the first harvest. It's a time of year when we see the incredible miracle of growth that brings a brighter, greener community. On Shavuot, this time of growth has great spiritual significance. It's a time when we too are challenged to grow and realign ourselves with what's important. The physical distancing requirements and limits to gatherings during the global pandemic are undoubtedly significant at times when we would normally gather together to celebrate, to study, and to worship. Physical distancing isn't easy, but thanks to the vision and dedication of congregations and families all over our city, Jewish Winnipeggers will keep the faith this year as they always have. This perseverance and resilience sends an encouraging message to all of us, Jewish and non-Jewish Winnipeggers alike. At a very profound level, it's a reflection of the historic and enduring commitment of the Jewish people to their faith, which has never faltered and continues to this day. At another level, it also reflects a message about our shared humanity in times of trouble, which all Winnipeggers can take to their hearts during this difficult time. Thank you for these efforts. Thank you for the wonderful contributions you've all made to the city we're proud to call home. Wishing you peace, prosperity, and a happy Shavuot.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman, for those wonderful words. And now we have a message from Elaine Goldstein, the CEO of the Jewish Federation.
The holiday of Shavuot marks a unique moment in our history where we come together as one to receive the Torah and to accept the responsibility of upholding our values and ensuring our sustainability of its institutions. Tonight's citywide Tikun Leil Shavuot event brings us together under one roof with all of our diversity, with all of our passion for embracing these values that we share. In this spirit of community, our rabbis and synagogue leadership encourage you to contribute to the Federation COVID-19 Relief Fund. Please support this commitment to build a better community and a more caring world where each organization has a place and each person counts. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Chag Sameach to you. And what many people may not be aware is this Rabbis Panel, something that we were planning for a long time to do it at Temple Shalom, which unfortunately, because of social distancing and all the problems with the corona pandemic, we couldn't do it. So we have to move it to an online format. So now I would like to continue with a message provided by Linda Fried, past president from Temple Shalom, the synagogue, who is actually the one who should be hosting this panel under normal circumstances. So, Linda, please.
Good evening, and welcome to our online community celebration of Tikun Leil Shavuot. I'm Linda Fried, past president of Temple Shalom. As the year 2020 began, we started our synagogue meetings about Shavuot. The new old tradition of celebrating with other congregations in Winnipeg has brought us all a valuable sense of our combined purpose, strength, and the pleasure of sharing the joys of this spring festival together. Temple Shalom was to be the host this year. That plan came to a halt in mid-March, as did most activities around the world. It has been a lockdown such as no one has ever seen before, although there have been plagues through the millennia. This time, we are interconnected via the vast and various media available to many of us. It has become a time of chaos, sadness, fear, great change, and also hope for the future. It has been a marvel to be engaged as a part of a religious community, to see what we can accomplish for our congregants and what we can do to help others at this difficult time. Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, is a basic tenet of our faith. We are blessed to be able, each in our own way, to do something for each other. To feed the stranger by donating to charities who are helping those in need. To make calls and deliveries to those who cannot manage on their own. And to support our families, friends, and neighbors with small acts of friendship and kindness, or big ones. Shavuot is a time to rededicate ourselves to Torah and celebrate receiving it on Sinai. Innovation and new opportunities are ahead of us. Things are moving at lightning speed, and we must take good care to contribute by examining them thoughtfully, carefully, and with the best intentions for everyone's health, safety, and peace of mind. being a Jew is not for the faint of heart, and our survival is proof that we are resilient. I'm looking forward to our rabbis discussing the subject of Jewish wisdom in the face of adversity. We will hear from Rabbi Yosef Benarroch of Adas Yeshurun Herzlia, Rabbi Allan Finkel of Temple Shalom, Rabbi Matthew Leibl of Shaarey Zedek, and Rabbi Kliel Rose of Chayim. And the panel will be moderated by Rabbi Aníbal. The discussion will be followed by a question and answer session ending at 5:55 p.m. Chag Sameach.
Thank you, Linda. Chag Sameach to you. And so it's time now to begin with our panel. And we have in the room 4 wonderful rabbis that are going to teach us what message can we take from Judaism to help us in these difficult times. So first, we are going to begin with Rabbi Yossi Benarroch from the Adas Yeshurun Herzlia congregation, who is going to have the opportunity to bring some words of inspiration. Rabbi, please.
Thank you. First of all, this is a very unique Shavuot. I always think of Shavuot as the neglected holiday, and this year, Shavuot is going to be a memorable one. And so there's a little bit of justice in that. And today's topic that they've given us is Jewish wisdom in the face of adversity. So before I start, first of all, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank Rabbi Aníbal for hosting us here. All the rabbis who are on the panel, it's an honor to be with all of you. Also to thank the Shavuot committee and also our partner in this program, which is Federation. And now to our question. The last few months have definitely been extremely challenging. On a personal level for me, I've been separated from my family for almost 3 months, actually over 3 months. I was here for Pesach and I had to spend the Pesach Seder by myself. I haven't seen my wife, my children, my grandchildren in 3 months. And the question is, what do I take out from all of this? What has this crisis taught me? So first of all, I also want to thank my own community because they have been absolutely amazing in the help and the support that they've given me. And every second day I find something else, some goodies in my mailbox. So I want to thank them. And community really is a great response, by the way, to adversity. It's not what I wanted to talk about. I think that Jewish wisdom has a tremendous message in helping us during the times of adversity. And the message is really very, very simple. And that is the Jewish people have always been the eternal optimists. Optimism is one of the greatest Jewish ideals. And Jews have always rejected pessimism. It's not part of our vocabulary. There's no doomsday scenario in Judaism. Evil in Judaism will never win. The world will never fall apart. And in Judaism, there's no monster out there that's going to overwhelm us and destroy us, not COVID-19 and not anything else. Because Judaism is the religion of hope. And if you think about what are the words that are so valuable to us as Jews, they are hope, they are redemption. These are the words that are valuable to us. In the end, as Jews, we have always believed that good will prevail. And if you make a mistake, you can always fix your mistake. That's what we believe as Jews. Jews have never stopped dreaming of a better day. In fact, Rav Kook explains that the word tefillah, which of course is prayer, Rav Kook explains that what prayer is exaggerated dreaming. That's what it is. And that's who we are. We are the eternal optimists. Our prayer is one great song of hope. And this has been the Jewish message from time immemorial. It's what gave Jews the strength when they were marching to the gas chambers to be able to sing Ani Ma'amin. It's what gave Jews the courage after 2,000 years of exile to return to their homeland and rebuild their homeland. This is who we are. We are the eternal optimists. And that is because our tradition teaches us to be optimists. And if we look at our history, it's filled with optimists. From the first Jews who left Egypt and were willing to go into the wilderness, into the barren desert, to Rabbi Akiva, who suffered greatly in his life, and yet he said, Kol man de'avi rachmana litav avid. He said, whatever God does, it's only for the good. And even when Rabbi Akiva was being tortured by the Romans in a brutal death, those last moments he spent saying Shema Yisrael with joy, and his students looked on in amazement. And the same Rabbi Akiva, when he went to the temple area after the temple was destroyed, it was in ruins, it was in ashes, and he saw a fox coming out of the Holy of Holies, the holiest place in Judaism. His colleagues cried, and Rabbi Akiva started to laugh. Why did Rabbi Akiva laugh? Because to Rabbi Akiva, destruction is temporary. It doesn't last. He knew that whatever is destroyed will one day be rebuilt, and therefore Rabbi Akiva was laughing. I want to end with something that my wife, I was looking for a story to tell today, and my wife, she sent me something very beautiful this morning. It was an article from the New York Times, January 1st, 2000. It was the millennial edition of the New York Times after 100 years. And what they did is they had 3 front pages. One of them was from January 1st, 1900. In other words, the first paper that came out 100 years ago. The second one was the current edition of January 1st, the year 2000. And then the third page was January 1st, the year 2100, 100 years from now. And on the third page of that edition of 100 years from now, they printed the time for Shabbat candle lighting. And nobody paid for it. There was nobody who paid for that ad. Nobody asked for it. And the production editor of the New York Times is an Irish Catholic. And they asked him afterwards, why did you print the Shabbat times for 100 years from now? Why did you do that? And he gave an unbelievable answer. And he said the following, I quote, "We don't know what will happen in the year 2100. It's impossible to predict the future. But one thing you can be certain of is that in the year 2100, Jewish women will be lighting Shabbat candles." And I think that story, that my wife sent that to me today, talk about Basheret. And I think that story really tells it all. It is, and it has always been the Jewish response to adversity. Never give up hope, always wait, and believe in redemption, and never stop dreaming. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Benarroch, for those inspiring words. And you told the story of Rabbi Akiva, one of my favorites. The laugh of Rabbi Akiva. It's important to remain optimistic the whole time. Love it. Thank you so much. We are going to continue now with Rabbi Allan Finkel from Temple Shalom. Rabbi Allan Finkel was ordained at the same program that Rabbi Matthew and myself took. So it's a great pleasure to introduce now to our dear colleague, Rabbi Allan Finkel from Temple Shalom. Oh, hold on. You're not on.
I'd like to echo the words of Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Aníbal. It's been an absolute joy to come together as a community for Tikun Leil Shavuot, despite the adversity that we're facing right now. And I certainly look forward to welcoming you all to Temple Shalom next year, when hopefully, God willing, we'll be together again as a community physically. So adversity has been an integral part of our Jewish experience all the way through the stories of the Torah and the prophets, our 2,000 years in the diaspora, and certainly today, all around us and in the land of Israel. And so, not surprisingly, we have no shortage of distinct and powerful Jewish teachings on how we are to deal with adversity. as it is in our responses to adversity that we have not only survived, but thrived. This evening, I've chosen to focus on today's adversity, COVID-19. And in the few minutes that I have, I would like to share with you the tools, the Jewish teachings that I am using personally. COVID has been a shock to many of us, creeping up more like the slow rise of the Red River floods than the tidal wave of a tsunami. And this particular adversity, whether it has affected us directly or not, has taken us away from human contact. It has told us to isolate or to quarantine. Weeks have stretched into months, and with no clearly foreseeable date when we might gather together again physically as a community, or simply to be with family and friends. For me, it is my kids in Kelowna, or my mom in assisted living who I cannot visit. It is about virtual services where I'm looking out at an iPhone, rather than friends and familiar faces smiling back and sharing connected memories with me. It is about a community experiences like funerals and shivas that are surreal in their emptiness. So this adversity for me is about isolation. I find myself recalling the beauty of life before this strange COVID world and recognizing how important, how special connection means, what a hug or a touch on the arm or what a handshake feels like, and what it means to have a meaningful conversation one-on-one in real physical space. For me, isolation is an unnatural state. If we think about it, we all have habitual thoughts and feelings and actions, some of which hold us back from being holy, from being a participant in the world around us. So, to move away from isolation, I look to opposites. These days, I have turned to Musar, a Jewish spiritual practice where I can focus on positive character traits, or midot, as a counterweight to my negative ones, like isolation and loneliness. And I start with the midah of chesed, not just the traditional idea of loving kindness, but what is behind it, the importance of connection, that we are all connected to each other. I'm reminded that we may think of ourselves as water droplets, completely separate and alone, but in reality, we are all ocean. For me, my challenge is to turn on the chesed switch each day. So I have taped a phrase on my mirror that I see every morning. Olam chesed yibaneh. I will work to create a world of connection, of chesed. And I have a musical chant with those words that I can sing, an earworm to keep chesed with me all day long, for that is the way of Musar, chants or meditations to keep things close. And this is my meditation. Olam chesed yibaneh, ya la la, ya la hai lai lai. Olam chesed yibaneh, ya la la, ya la hai lai lai. Olam chesed yibaneh, ya la la, ya la hai lai lai. Olam chesed yibaneh, ya la la, ya la hai lai lai. And so my day, every day, starts with me thinking, who will I connect with today? And what can I do to build a world of chesed? But we all know about how those good intentions of the morning fade away as the day wears on. So I add a second character trait. Zerizut is enthusiasm or a positive energy force. Zerizut gives me kavanah, a sense of purpose or intentionality. It helps me look inside and see without judgment or anger that maybe I am reticent to make that phone call, to schedule and go out for a physically distanced walk with a friend. It tells me not to get frustrated when I don't make that call. Instead, it tells me, do something, even if it is baby steps, but do something. And my somethings are to aim for chesed and to do my small part in building a world of connection and loving kindness. On practical terms, for me, it is about just making 2 meaningful contacts every single day. It is about seeking and cherishing meaningful human connection, again, every single day, powered by Zerizut, just the commitment to try today, and to try again when tomorrow becomes today. And so those are my personal Jewish teachings and my responses to the adversity in my life today. And I encourage you to find your own. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. Thank you so much, Rabbi Allan, for those words of inspiration. Yeah, it's interesting that you got into Musar. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you so much for your contribution. So we are going to move on now to my dear colleague, Rabbi Matthew Leibl. We have an opportunity to share the work at the Shaarey Zedek. And so, Matthew, I'm going to invite you to teach us this day of Shavuot.
Thank you, Rabbi Aníbal, and thank you to my colleagues in this panel, Rabbi Benarroch, Rabbi Finkel, Rabbi Kliel. It's an honor to be here and to be included in this year's panel. When it comes to dealing with adversity, the best advice I've found in my life is to follow role models, whose examples we can not only learn from, but emulate when we're confronted with challenges that turn our own worlds upside down. For this question, I decided to look at the Torah. After all, this is Shavuot. And see if there are any role models in the pages of the Torah whose examples may offer a blueprint to us for dealing with such challenges. First, I took a look at Nachshon ben Aminadav, the Prince of Judah. Have you heard of him before? Well, he's mentioned in the Torah, of course, but it's in the Midrash where we learn that when Bnei Israel stood at the waters of Yam Suf, they did not part immediately. No, not until Nachshon took the plunge, so to speak, faced his fear, and just kept walking. Some say it wasn't until the waters were up to his eyes that they actually started to part. Nachshon was rewarded for this. He got to bring the first gifts on behalf of his tribe to consecrate, to dedicate the new Mishkan. He had faith. He had absolute faith. He knew in his heart what he was doing was right. God would not let him and the people down. And so he forged ahead no matter what. But I'm not so sure blind faith will resonate with a modern audience. So I kept searching. What about Aharon, Aaron, the first Kohen Gadol and brother and partner to Moshe? When Aaron's two sons, Nadav and Avihu, are struck down in an instant for offering strange fire in the newly consecrated Mishkan, we're told Aaron goes completely silent. It's amazing and somewhat shocking. Two sons die and Aaron doesn't say a word. It's interesting to note the rabbis praised Aaron for this silence. They say he showed maturity and self-control. He paused and reflected rather than giving in to impulse or a knee-jerk emotionally charged reaction. He had the wisdom of an older, wiser man, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov would say. But in the end, did Aaron ever actually do anything? We're not told. It doesn't seem he ever acts. So there's a part there we can learn from, but it feels incomplete. So maybe not Aaron after all. Maybe we follow Yaakov, Jacob. Now I know what you're thinking. Certainly not the young Jacob who deceived his own family, his dying father, and ran from his brother Esav like a coward. Not him, but maybe the mature, the grown-up Jacob, who in the silence of the night protects his family by sending them away and stays alone to face his enemy. A mysterious figure. We're never quite sure. Is it a man, an angel, God, or perhaps a manifestation of his own inner demons? Whoever it is, Jacob stays up all night wrestling with this foe. He never wins, but he also never gives up. He never surrenders. He refuses to let his challenger defeat him. He's got a bit of Nachshon ben Aminadav in him, betting on himself, forging ahead, and a bit of Aaron too, the silence, the maturity, the calm approach. But what he has, what we can emulate and learn from, is that he acts. In the past, Jacob ran from his fears, but in this instant, he faces them. He faces his adversity. He doesn't back down. Though he couldn't defeat his opponent, couldn't completely overcome his opponent, he still grappled. He held tight for as long as he had to. For that, he became Yisrael. In that moment, Jacob secured immortality. Wishing you all a Chag Sameach, a wonderful Shavuot, a wonderful Shabbat, a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Matthew. That was wonderful. Thank you for the inspiration that you brought to us. And so I would like to invite now to our next rabbi, representing Congregation Etz Chayim, that is Rabbi Kliel Rose, who comes from already a lineage of rabbis. He has ichus. He's not just a rabbi, he's the continuation of the Rose legacy. And he's going to bring us also an inspiring message to get something for our Shavuot. Kliel, please.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Aníbal, and to all of my colleagues. This is really such a pleasure to be able to, more than teach Torah, to be able to learn Torah from the other rabbis in the community. It's not often that we get to do this sort of thing together, and so it's such a joy, and I'm really honored. And I wanted to start by saying I've been thinking a lot about faces in if you will, in the face of adversity. I've been thinking about the faces actually as recent as today, the faces of the mourners who I was with at a funeral this morning. And I'm thinking about the face of the woman who I recited the vidui, the confessional prayer with this afternoon, as she lies on her deathbed, and how important our face is, the kind of face that we walk in, and how we greet people, not only during the pandemic, but in general, all the time. But it becomes even more clear, it has become more clear, that the face we show up with has a way of influencing people, has a way of potentially changing their situation for what might be temporary betterment of their situation. So I wanted to, Rabbi Finkel and I did not organize this ahead of time, but about 2 hours ago, we found out that we were both offering an insight about chesed, which shouldn't surprise anybody, because when you immerse yourself in Torah, there are certain key themes that come up. And so I wanted to, like Rabbi Finkel, I wanted to just kind of explicate the idea or add a little bit more to this whole idea of chesed. And I'm using a teaching from Rav Shlomo Wolbe, who was a rabbi who lived in the 20th century, and he passed away in Jerusalem in 2005, and he was a teacher of Musar, something Rabbi Finkel referred to earlier. And it's the exact same psalm that Rabbi Finkel spoke about that I want to highlight here through the lens of Rabbi Wolbe. And I also want to say that I learned this text from my teacher, Rabbi Amy Alberg, who will be teaching for Eitz Chaim in the month of June on Musar. So the words from Psalm 89 in verse 2 are, Olam chesed yibaneh, the world is built of your love. And this insight, according to Rabbi Wolbe, tells us that every act of chesed, even a small one, is an actual act of building and creation, enlivening the spirit of the downtrodden and the brokenhearted. So by this logic, as a community, as a human family, we are creating a world upon world of love and connection, even as the virus hovers among us. Unless we think we are doing nothing when we are not performing discrete actions, Wolbe is understanding the kindness of chesed to a minute and profound level, building on an earlier rabbinic text. It says that when the Blessed One, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, created humanity in the divine image, God did not only give of God's glory to humanity, imparting us with qualities of intellect and soul, but created us in the divine image in the sense that God also gave us the power of the radiant face. The radiance of the human face is a hidden treasure of blessing and mercy. And the quality of the radiant face, the concrete behavior flows. That is the quality of Shammai, the elder, who said, receive every person with a kind face. Kind face is the act of radiating the face. And this is a great thing, says Rav Wolbe. What the rabbis called giving peace is no mere rhetorical flourish. One who offers a kind face to another literally gives peace to the other. And for this reason, Rabbi Matya ben Parash said, be the first to give the greeting of Shalom to every person. So in short, Rav Wolbe expands the earlier rabbinic teaching about greeting everyone with a kind expression known as the Sever Panim Yafot into an extraordinary spiritual teaching. We know that the divine face is radiant, as in the second line of the priestly blessing, Birkat Kohanim, Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'yechuneka. May God's face bring you light and show you grace. Since we humans are created in the image of the divine, he reasons we too have the power of the radiant face. An abundance of kindness. And I hope that we can take that into our lives, into everything that we do, not during just this pandemic, but beyond that as well. And I want to just wish everyone a Chag Sameach and give you a blessing of being able to help with this transformation, both on a personal level and a collective. And I think with this sort of intention, with this kind of kavanah, we can really show up to Har Sinai. And so I'll greet you, because I'm past my 4 minutes, and say, see you soon, Chag Sameach, and I'll see you at Sinai. Be well.
Thank you, Rabbi Kliel. Thank you very much for your teaching. We lost you a little bit in the middle. Your sound was off and then it came back at the end. You gave me a scare that you were going to disappear, but nope, you made it to the end. So you were able to wrap up your message. Thank you very much. So we had 4 different approaches, 4 different teachings, and I would like to bring all the rabbis together now. So we invite everybody who's watching and who has access to the chat feature. You will have an opportunity to ask the rabbis something that you would like more information about what they said, or if you have any other questions, we still have a little bit of time so they can answer some of those questions. So I will bring the rabbis now. Rabbis, you can unmute yourselves if you want.
Yasher Koach to all the rabbis and to Rabbi Mas for moderating. Wonderful. Very cool. What a cool event.
Wonderful.
I know this story. Well, the story, there's different. The ones I liked was that what is it, that they had all this food, they had all this meat, and then they went to Har Sinai and they got all the laws of kashrut, and when they got back they realized that all their meat was treif, or wasn't kosher, right? I guess treif. And so they were bound to eat dairy while they kind of sorted through and figured out how to go about getting kosher meat. That's the best one I ever heard. I think the best version I ever heard. Nice. Anybody want to corroborate or rebut?
Well, that is one of the answers it's given, but I wanted to give an answer, actually a beautiful, more philosophical answer that's given by Rav Kook. It's the second time I'm quoting Rav Kook tonight. And Rav Kook says something very interesting. Actually, there's a custom not only to eat dairy products on Shavuot, but also some people have a custom to eat honey and dairy products. Not just on Rosh Hashanah do we eat honey, but also on Shavuot. And Rav Kook, of course, in his deep thinking, made a very interesting observation, and that is that both honey and milk come from a impure source. Now, I never checked this scientifically, but his claim is that the animal produces milk through its blood. And of course, blood is forbidden to eat in Judaism. And of course, honey is produced by a bee. And a bee, of course, is tameh, it's impure, and one is not allowed to eat a bee. So this is very interesting. Here we have impure sources producing something that is so sweet and something that is so pure that we eat on Shavuot. And this, said Rav Kook, is to teach us that that's what the Torah does. The Torah can take the impure and it can turn it into the pure. And not only does it do it with these animals and insects to turn it to honey and milk, but it does it with us as well. And it takes all the impurities out of us. And hopefully, as a result of engaging in the Torah, we become pure as a result of it.
Me neither. Very cool.
Yeah, I just want to add, I think this is a well-known one. It's one of my favorites, that the gematria, the numeric value of the Hebrew word for milk, chalab, is 40, right? And so we eat dairy foods on Shavuot to commemorate the 40 days that Moshe spent on Har Sinai. That's the one I remember learning as a little kid. I think it might have been from the late Mr. Berger. I love it.
Shout outs to Rav Kook and Mr. Berger in the same panel.
Yes,
I think our work is done. We can probably log off early now.
Well, I'll give it a shot. Being a good Sephardic Jew, Sephardic Jews like to eat meat. Most of the Sephardic rabbis actually say that even though you should eat dairy on Shavuot, you should still eat meat, because the Gemara says, "Ein simcha ele bebasar v'yain," that our joy, if we're not a vegetarian, is through meat and drinking wine. And so their suggestion is that you have a quick dairy meal, and then once you finish the dairy meal, you say the after blessing, and then bring out the roast and the brisket and everything else as well. It's just a custom.
I say you push it as far as your Jewish gut will let you.
Exactly.
If you can handle 48 hours of lactose and only lactose, God bless.
No, it's okay.
Just related to Rabbi Benarroch's point, I can tell you that I lived in Tennessee, I can't even say the words online right now, but the capital of barbecuing, right, in the United States. And I know that the Orthodox synagogue there, they would have dairy for the first few hours of Shavuot, do exactly as Rabbi Benarroch mentioned. And then at midnight, they'd have a classic Tennessee barbecue and roasted only kosher meat. Yeah.
Sorry, some people didn't hear the question that it was asked. I say it again. It's and the question basically was if we're supposed to eat dairy and non-meat the whole holiday or just tonight. That's what it is. Now, I think my microphone is open now when you can see all the faces. Before it was not, so I apologize for that.
My experience growing up was very similar to what was just described. It was opening Shavuot with dairy, and then basically going back to whatever you're eating afterwards. It was honoring the tradition of dairy, but it wasn't like Pesach kosher or anything like that.
Okay, so I don't think we have any more questions from the chat. So I would like to thank you, all of you. Thank you, Rabbi Benarroch, Rabbi Leibl, Rabbi Finkel, and Rabbi Rose. Although I think you like to go by Kliel, right? You always said
BL.
Rabbi
Yeah.
Rose. Rabbi Rose is my father. You always say that. So Rabbi Kliel, thank you so much to the panel for participating. Thank you all of you for watching online. Thank you so much to the committee that worked so hard to put all this together. And Thank you to Robert Didich from Congregation Shaarey Zedek for he worked hard preparing all the graphics for the names and all the details that you saw in this stream. And before we finish, I would like to invite the rabbis of the panel. If you have any special program for Shavuot, if you'd like to invite everybody, this is the moment. Yossi, you want to start?
Sure. Well, I am, first of all, thank you everyone for joining us today. All the rabbis, Chag Sameach, to all of you, Chag Sameach, to the committee, and everyone who helped Chag Sameach. And it has been a hard time, but I am very happy to say that our synagogue, the Herzlia synagogue, are moving forward with trying to get back to normal. And we do have, I'm giving a class immediately after this session today at 6 o'clock from 6 to 7 on the synagogue Zoom. But as well, we are starting to gradually open up our synagogue. And tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, outdoors in the back of our synagogue, there's a large outdoor space. And we are having a miniature service, which will include Hallel, the reading of the Torah and the Ten Commandments, and Musaf. And hopefully for the first time for our synagogue, at least, people are able to say Kaddish. And that's going to be tomorrow outdoors, of course, with all the safety regulations and standards in place. And then tomorrow night at 7:15, we are doing a Kabbalat Shabbat, an outdoor mincha and Kabbalat Shabbat as well. And once again, with all the different regulations in place. And then God willing, next week in the evenings, we're going to gradually start our services, and gradually next week, starting on Monday night, we are going to be having every day Mincha and Mariv in the synagogue. And we have a lot of guidelines in place in order to do that. But with God's help, it's time for us to start getting back together, getting our lives back to normal, and to do it in a safe manner and a responsible manner. And very, very excited about that.
Thank you. Allan, do you have
Sure,
it?
thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you. It's great to hear this kind of programming going on across our community. This evening, there'll be a Tikun Leil Shavuot across the entire Canadian Reformed Jewish community, organized by the Canadian Council of Reformed Judaism. It's going to go from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern, so you can adjust your times accordingly for that. On Saturday morning, we'll have an online live stream service for Shavuot with my leading the service with Cantorla and Udo. And I do know that, Aníbal, I'm certainly hoping you're going to discuss the international musical concert that you've set up for Sunday evening, which will have a lot of Winnipeg voices on it. So I wish you all truly a Chag Sameach.
Thank you. Chag Sameach. Yeah, I will announce that. I was going to announce it at the end, basically, but I won't say it now because you mentioned it, that we have a virtual concert post Shavuot on Sunday, May 31st at 7 p.m. Central Time. You can watch it in these same channels that you are watching this event on the Shaarey Zedek, YouTube, and Facebook. It's amazing. We have voices from Argentina, Chile, Mexico, United States, Italy, and Canada. So 7 p.m. on Sunday. Don't miss it. So now that I announced that, maybe I will continue with Matthew. If you want to, Rabbi Matthew, you want to tell us about our upcoming services at the Shaarey Zedek.
Thanks, Rabbi Aníbal. Looking forward to that concert as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. We have our first day of Shavuot services tomorrow from our chapel. They'll be online, as our services have been during this pandemic, with Rabbi Mas, myself, and Bonnie Robinson. If you want to hear the reading of a selection from Parshat Yitro and the Ten Commandments and Akdamut as part of the introduction, which a lot of people don't know much about. I liked what Rabbi Benarroch said earlier. I've actually done a few talks on Shavuot being the forgotten holiday, and I'm hoping that we can get a few extra people tuning in this year, because it shouldn't be. It's really a special holiday. It's unique and it's wonderful, and our service tomorrow will capture some of that. Kabbalat Shabbat, slightly abbreviated because of the Chag. I'll be leading tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. And then on Saturday, Shabbat, 10 o'clock service, the start for our second day of Shavuot, which will include Yizkor. We're going to time Yizkor for noon. some people we know like to tune in just specifically for that. We invite you to see the entire service. But if you are interested specifically in the Yizkor service, which we recite 4 times a year, this is one of them, and it'll be Saturday at noon. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. And yeah, I noticed that it was one question from the chat that was asked, well, what was the original topic before we decided to change to that? And the answer is Judaism and the environment.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. I think that actually it was a positive impact into the environment because of so many people staying home during this last few months. So that's interesting. Maybe we can talk about that next time. So Rabbi Kliel, what about the Chayim?
Sure. I just got a note that there was somebody.
We are losing you.
Female rabbi serving at Temple Shalom. So I wanted to just make that point.
Sorry, we lost you. We lost you completely.
Oh, no, he's back.
Okay.
Rabbi Kliel, so you can continue, please.
Any better?
Your sound comes and goes.
Oh, okay. How's that? Better?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, sorry about that. In any case, let me tell you what Chayim is doing tonight at 6:15. We're having a mincha service. That'll be followed by our first Erev Shavuot learning session with Rabbi Dr. Ryan Dulkin, who's an expert in Midrash. An hour later at 7:30, a well-known Winnipeg rabbi, Rabbi Neil Rose, will be teaching on Megillat root and the influence of and psychology of Dr. Viktor Frankl. And then we'll close at 8:45 with a Mariv special for Chag. We have pre-recorded a service for Shabbat morning and Shavuot. In addition, that'll include Yizkor. You can access that on Saturday if you'd like at 10 a.m. And if you prefer to do that after the Chag, after Shabbat, you can also access that service. So I just want to wish you all Chag Sameach, regardless of whether you eat milk all night, dairy all night, or whether you eat meat later on. I hope it's just a really enjoyable Chag.
Thank you, Rabbi Kliel. Chag Sameach. So Chag Sameach to all of you, and also Shabbat Shalom in advance. Thank you all for tuning in. It was great to have you all here. And thank you everybody who was involved into making this possible. And we hope we can get all together next year for another program for Shavuot. It's great when all the rabbis get together and inspire the entire community. And one of the things that is one of the positive things about this pandemic is how our messages don't have limits. Because I was reading through the chat, we have people from all over the world connected to listen to you. So it's great that you have the opportunity to inspire not just the Winnipeg Jewish community, but the community at large. So thank you all for participating. Thank you for your powerful messages. And again, thanks for tuning in. God bless. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach. Hope to see you all soon. Stay safe. Bye.
Sameach, everyone.
Sameach to everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom.
Chag Sameach.